No one remembers the border that vanished overnight. No one speaks of the lands where Cambodian temples once stood under the rising sun, lands now claimed by another kingdom. This is the story of how Siam, the ancient forerunner of modern Thailand, reached into the heart of Cambodia and took what would be known as the Lost Provinces. Long before Southeast Asia was divided by modern borders, the Khmer Empire reigned like a god-king across the region. Its stone cities, Angkor foremost among them, gleamed in the jungle light. But empires do not die in thunder, they erode in silence. And from that silence, Siam emerged. By the 18th century, the once mighty Khmer Empire was little more than a ghost, its kings surviving under the watchful eyes of stronger neighbors. To the west, Siam grew rich and confident. To the east, Vietnam's Nguyen lords pushed their own ambitions. Cambodia was caught between two hungry giants. Every Cambodian village knew what it meant to live under fear of both tribute, conscripts, and the constant shuffle of borders. And in that fragile balance, a single war would change everything. In 1794, Siam made its first bold claim. King Rama I, founder of the Chakri dynasty, saw opportunity in Cambodia's weakness. The Cambodian king Angkor was just a boy taken hostage to Bangkok for protection. In his absence, the Siamese court divided Cambodia's western lands, the rich provinces of Battambang and Siem Reap, and placed them under direct Siamese control. It was a quiet annexation, done without the roar of cannons. Siam called it administration, Cambodia called it theft. The temples of Angkor, sacred to the Khmer soul, were suddenly governed by another flag. Imagine the shock of that moment. The empire that had once ruled from the Mekong to the Gulf of Siam, now reduced to a kingdom barely able to control its capital. The people of Battambang awoke to Siamese officials, new taxes, and a new order. Yet the temples remained, staring silently as they had for centuries, witnesses to another chapter of human ambition. Siam justified its control with an old argument: protection. They claimed to defend Cambodia against Vietnamese aggression, but behind diplomacy lay power. Every year, the Siamese king sent administrators to oversee harvests, collect tribute, and recruit soldiers from the new territories. Over time, these Khmer provinces became Siamese in speech, in custom, even in memory. For the next 100 years, the map of Cambodia was blurred. Siam ruled its western lands, Vietnam its eastern reaches. Caught between, the Cambodian monarchy endured humiliation after humiliation, its kings forced to navigate a dangerous diplomacy between two greater powers. By the mid-19th century, King Norodom of Cambodia realized the game was lost. He could not resist both Siam and Vietnam, and then came a new player, France. In 1863, the French protectorate over Cambodia was born. To many, it seemed like salvation. France promised to defend Cambodian sovereignty, but the price was steep. The Cambodian crown would survive only under the French flag. When France began redrawing the map of Indochina, they noticed something strange. The western provinces, Battambang, Siem Reap, Sisaphon, were not under Cambodian control but Siamese. France claimed this was unacceptable. Siam claimed it was history. The dispute simmered for decades until 1904, when France forced Siam into negotiation. Then came the year 1907. The year the lost provinces were returned. In a treaty signed between France and Siam, the western Cambodian provinces, those same lands seized in 1794, were officially restored to Cambodia. Siam kept the territories west of the Dangrek Mountains, but Angkor, Battambang and Siem Reap returned to Cambodian hands. For the first time in over a century, the Khmer temples of Angkor were again under Cambodian rule. The people rejoiced, but quietly. Few understood that their freedom had come not from victory, but from the designs of European empires. Siam's loss was not Cambodia's triumph. It was France's assertion of control. Still, for Cambodians, 1907 became a symbolic rebirth. The return of Angkor was more than a cartographic correction. It was the recovery of a soul. But history is never that simple. Behind the treaties and celebrations, the story of the lost provinces was far from over. Because when borders shift, memories don't. Even today, along the western frontier, whispers remain of maps that do not match, of temples claimed by both sides, and of the day Siam's shadow fell across Cambodia's heart. When France restored the lost provinces to Cambodia in 1907, it was not an act of justice. It was a maneuver, a colonial calculation wrapped in diplomacy. France wanted to consolidate its hold over Indochina, and the easiest way to weaken Siam's influence was to return what had never truly been Siam's to begin with. To the French, this was cartography. To the Siamese court, it was humiliation. To the Cambodian people, it was another chapter written by hands far beyond their borders. In Bangkok, the treaty was signed reluctantly. The Siamese elite understood that France was the new master of Southeast Asia. They could not resist its gunboats or its empire of maps. The provinces of Battambang, Siem Reap and Sisophon were marked in red ink and handed over like tribute. It was a symbolic wound, one that would fester in the national memory of Siam for generations. In Cambodia, King Sisowath presided over the ceremonies of return. Monks chanted, flags were raised, and processions moved through ancient gates. Angkor, the sleeping giant of Khmer civilization, was once again under Cambodian rule. To the people, it felt like a restoration of the soul. Yet beneath the celebration lay unease. They knew that the French were not saviors. The temples might be home again, but Cambodia itself was not free. It had merely changed masters. The French called it protection. Cambodians called it another occupation. But for the first time in a century, the sacred stones of Angkor were once more guarded by Khmer hands. It was a fragile pride, the kind born from survival, not triumph. Meanwhile, in Siam, resentment burned quietly. Newspapers and poets lamented the unjust loss of the western provinces. The government, stripped of leverage by European pressure, turned inward to strengthen its identity. Siam modernized rapidly, determined never again to be humiliated by colonial powers. It worked. While every other kingdom in Southeast Asia fell to colonization, Siam remained the only one never formally conquered. But that independence came with scars and memories of what was taken. By the 1930s, the world was shifting again. France held Cambodia in its colonial grip, but across the Gulf, Siam, now officially Thailand, was changing under a new, fierce nationalism. When World War II erupted, the balance of power trembled once more. In 1940, France fell to Nazi Germany. Its colonies in Indochina were suddenly vulnerable. Thailand saw its chance. With support from Japan, whose empire was expanding across Asia, the Thai government launched a campaign to reclaim its lost territories. It was called the Franco-Thai War, small in scale but massive in symbolism. Battles flared along the western Cambodian border. Thai bombers struck French positions near Siem Reap and Battambang. Within months, France's colonial troops were retreating. Under Japanese mediation, a treaty was signed in 1941. The lost provinces, Battambang and Siem Reap, were once again annexed by Thailand. For 4 years, Cambodian families woke up to a new flag. Markets used Thai currency, schools taught Thai language. The shift was swift and disorienting. Elderly monks whispered that history had repeated itself. The shadow of Siam had returned. But when the war ended in 1945, so too did Thailand's brief revival of empire. The Allied powers, victorious over Japan, demanded that all occupied territories be restored to their pre-war status. Thailand was forced to return the provinces to French-controlled Cambodia in 1946. For the second time in 40 years, the same lands changed hands. Maps were redrawn again, flags came down, flags went up. The people who lived there, Khmer by blood, Siamese by experience, simply bowed their heads and carried on. The 20th century rolled forward, but the border never truly settled. By the 1950s, Cambodia had gained independence from France, and Thailand stood proudly as a modern nation. Yet their histories remained entangled. The emotional wound over the lost provinces lingered in the collective memory of both peoples. Then, in 1962, another spark reignited old tensions. This time, it was not about Battambang or Siem Reap, but about a single, sacred temple perched atop a cliff, Preah Vihear. Cambodia and Thailand both claimed it. The temple stood near the border, its steps facing Cambodian plains, but its peak reachable only from Thai soil. The dispute went to the International Court of Justice in The Hague. After years of deliberation, the court ruled in Cambodia's favor. Preah Vihear belonged to Cambodia. It was a legal victory, but it stirred nationalist anger in Thailand. Demonstrations erupted in Bangkok. Politicians swore that history had been stolen again. The ancient feud of maps and memory had found a new battleground. Decades passed, yet the dispute refused to die. In 2008, UNESCO listed Preah Vihear as a World Heritage Site under Cambodia. Armed clashes soon followed along the border. Soldiers exchanged fire near the cliffs. Both nations mourned their dead, each claiming to defend their history. It was proof that the ghosts of the lost provinces still haunted the living. Even today, if you stand near the border towns of Banteay Menchi or Odar Menchi, you can feel it, the invisible tension that runs through the rice fields and temples. Street signs bear both Khmer and Thai scripts. Families trade across borders that their ancestors never recognized. History breathes here, quietly beneath every stone. The story of the lost provinces is more than a tale of shifting borders. It is a mirror of human ambition, pride, and survival. For Siam, it was the struggle to defend its sovereignty in an age of colonial predators. For Cambodia, it was the painful fight to reclaim a heritage almost erased. And for France, it was nothing but imperial calculus, the rearrangement of people and culture in pursuit of dominance. No one truly won. The land changed hands, the flags changed colors, but the scars remained. The Khmer villagers who paid taxes to both kingdoms, the soldiers who fought under orders written in foreign tongues, the children who grew up calling their home by two names, one Khmer, one Thai. These are the forgotten lives that give history its human weight. Walk through the streets of modern Battambang and you can still see Siam's fingerprints. The old governor's mansion, built in 1905, bears Thai architecture and French decor. The Buddhist pagodas echo with chants in both languages. Traders cross the border daily, their dialects blending like the Mekong's waters. History did not end here. It adapted. The lost provinces are no longer a battlefield, but they remain a living reminder of what borders can never divide: culture, faith, and memory. To understand this story is to understand Southeast Asia itself. For centuries, kingdoms rose and fell here like tides. The Khmer, the Siamese, the Vietnamese, the French, all left footprints in the same soil. Yet through conquest and loss, the people endured. They farmed, prayed, rebuilt, and remembered. Perhaps that is the real secret of the lost provinces. Not what was stolen, but what survived. And when the sun sets over Angkor's towers, the stone faces seem to smile knowingly. They have seen kingdoms vanish, treaties signed, and flags changed. But they have also seen the dawn return, again and again. Because borders can be drawn and erased, but memory cannot. The land remembers, the people remember, and history, though frozen for a time, always thaws to remind us who we were and who we became. The lost provinces are not just lines on a forgotten map. They are echoes of empires and testaments to resilience. Every ruin, every border, every whispered story along the Dangrek Mountains carries the same message: that no power, no empire, no colonizer can truly claim the human soul of a land. And so the story ends where it began, between Cambodia and Siam, where memory still walks the border, and the past is never truly gone.